Hey, quick story before we start. I was talking to this $2 million agency owner recently, had a great team, solid clients. They told me they wanted to scale to 5 million. So I asked them one question. If you stop selling for 30 days, what happens? They laughed. Then they said, well, revenue probably drops. That's the problem. Most seven-figure agencies don't have a sales system. They have a founder. They do free strategy, custom proposals, the long sales cycle, and they're constantly chasing prospects. So I'm running a 100,000 plus sales conversion workshop to actually fix this. I'm going to show you how agencies are charging for that first step and getting paid to pitch, how they're closing $100,000 plus deals faster and getting the owner out of the day-to-day sales. Now it's a whopping $100 because we want to scare off the time wasters. Okay. If you're serious about removing yourself as a bottleneck, go to agencymastery360.com/100K. That's agencymastery360.com/100K. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Hey, Marissa, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Jason. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Tell us who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, thanks for having me here. Marissa Rosen, and my company is Climate Social. It's a micro agency, I like to call it, that I founded in 2015. So we just celebrated 10 years. And my company, Climate Social, started with my passion and interest in climate action and sustainable business and social media. So I've been in, the social media space sort of since the dawn of when organizations and people were learning how to use these tools. I've just had such a passion for figuring out how to connect, how to build communities, how to help people tell their story on social. So I founded my agency. We've grown and evolved over the years, and now we do a lot more to help our clients tell their story from beginning to end. So working with startups, on their initial brand, website, messaging, et cetera, and then working with some more established companies on PR and social and thought leadership. So it's all about, helping them gain visibility and gain more clients and make the world a better place. That's what Climate Social is all about.
That's awesome. And I wanted to have you on because you've really designed a lifestyle agency, right? Because I always, I chat with all different types of people all day long. And I always ask them, their goal. Like, are they trying to build an agency as an asset to sell? Are you trying to use an agency as an incubator agency? Are you building an agency around your lifestyle? And all of that. And a lot of times people are like, I want to build it up and sell it for a gazillion dollars. I'm like, that's all good. But the chances of you doing that are very slim, and you have to sacrifice a lot of different things early on. But I also tell people, I'm like, look, if I was going to do it over again, I would design it around my life first rather than having it dictate, like the agency really kind of build my life. And you've really kind of built this lifestyle where you have time with your kids and it provides for you and all that. So was that always kind of the plan, or did that change over time?
Yeah. When I founded in 2015, I had no idea where I'd be in 2025, but I've made it 26, actually. It's January. I made it to be a lifestyle business, and it's just naturally evolved over the years. Really, word of mouth and one client to the next is how I've built it. I never intended to sell it, and still am really enjoying the daily operations. I'm kind of the, relationship holder, and then I bring on my partners to do different pieces of the puzzle. But, really it is my lifestyle agency. It's my, my home office, and working with people who I have the pleasure to work with. And I, set my own hours, pick my own clients, and work on issues that I think are really impactful. And, that's what I've chosen to do. So yeah, when it comes to the kids, when it's summertime, holidays, sick days, whatever, I'm there for them because I can be. And I feel very fortunate to be alive at this time, to have started my company at this time around the dawn of social media, getting into this space and being able to really, do this. COVID didn't impact us. And in fact, it helped grow the business because I was already set up to work from home. And, so were my partners, and we've been doing this for a long time. So while the world was shuffling around during COVID, it just kind of brought out different opportunities for us. And here I am still doing the same type of thing.
Yeah, I remember in the 80s, my dad would come home from work with like this big briefcase. And I even remember him bringing back the first laptop. And the laptop was bigger than the regular gaming PCs. Like literally it was this huge box. Wow. and the you would open it up and the case on the front would turn into a keyboard. Like that was like the first laptop. And like
Wow.
he always had to go into the office to work. And like now with the internet and social media and all this cool stuff, like, yeah, I mean, I live out in the middle of the mountains, no one around me, and we're talking right now, right? Like, and I
Right.
don't have to travel much. Like it's a pretty cool time we live in. What are the rules that you've set in place to kind of make sure the agency doesn't dictate, and take away some of that freedom that you really wanted? Because there's too many people that start an agency, they do it for freedom, right? I mean, that's what we're all doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
then they work all the time. They're never with their kids, right? They really have no rules. What are some of the rules that you've created?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. And that's why I started to build the agency to be more than me. I started as a social media contractor, just me, myself, and I, and that was my LLC. But now working with different partners who bring their own expertise and their craft to the right project. That's how I, kind of put together my proposals and cater my engagements is, what do they need and how can I help them? So if it's building a brand, then I've got a brand designer to bring in. If it's building a website, that's certainly not me doing the coding. I've got a friend or a partner to do the website development and so on. So lifting that off of my shoulders of being the one that has to both bring in the business and do all of the services, that's been a game changer. And that's been, over the past 5 years, give or take. And then I just have to set those parameters. When I schedule things on my Google Calendar, I typically won't take an appointment past 3 p.m. Eastern because that's when my kids are coming home from school and I need
That are
to turn
causing
into
ruckus.
mom mode. That's when mom mode starts is 3 p.m. Eastern. But having that flexibility and, agency to be able to cater my schedule to what suits us best as a family when I'm not, with the hat on doing the work.
Yeah. And I think too, you can always communicate that to your clients. Be like, look,
Mm-hmm.
you can't reach me after 3. We're a small boutique agency. We'll do anything for you. But after that, and I think clients respect that, like every Friday, we always go do something epic and I always take off. My clients know they cannot reach me because I have no cell service. I have no Wi-Fi. I'm in the middle of the mountains somewhere doing something stupid with my buddy. Right. So it's fun to do that. And that's why we kind of create business. And that's why I love kind of this podcast and interviewing all different types of people, because there's 1,000 different ways to do things. You just have to kind of take little bits and pieces from everything and go, that would work for me. That wouldn't work for me. Like there's no silver bullet, kind of like some of these influencers with Lambos kind of say, if you want $1 billion or whatever, you got to do it exactly this way. It's like, I'm sure you can learn something from them, maybe on how not to do it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
oh, go on.
Oh no, just that, it's fun to be able to be the one who sets the rules and, create the foundation of the agency and it works.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to decide early on who's going to set the rules. Are you going to set the rules or are your clients going to set the rules? Like, it's kind of, when I was training Aspen, my dog, she's a German Shepherd. My trainer goes, look, you're either training her or she's training you from the very beginning, and it can always change. And so, and a lot of times she does train me. So, what are some things that, the market's changing really quick. AI is, crazy on how it's affecting the whole world. What are some things that you're a little cautious about or kind of wondering about in AI?
Yeah. It's definitely changing the game for so many things. Just really, I'd say in the past 2 years. And I've been in business for 10 years and you've been here, longer than I have, doing what we do. But things have just rapidly evolved so dramatically with the rise of AI. And so my business is, I'm finding one challenge is now I'm just hustling a little bit harder, churning my biz dev wheels a little bit harder to really get the clients where we've got a sweet spot where I can provide them something that they need, that they're not turning to AI for. I mean, of course, we all use AI tools in different ways, but they still need a person driving the strategy and, catering the content and making sure that they're speaking to the right people. We got to do these certain things that AI is not going to replace. But I think that AI has certainly impacted a lot of partners of mine when it comes to, I'd say, video in particular, where it used to be a very long, tedious process to get that footage, get the B-roll, make the videos, and they could charge a pretty penny for it. And now, their clients are able to do something real fast and real cheap with AI. So, there's definitely different industries that have been severely impacted and, we're going out of business. But, at the end of the day, we're still in control for now as humans, and it's still the human relationships that matter the most. And I've always prided myself with, genuine relationships first. I don't do the slop kind of like AI messages to people on LinkedIn and whatever. Like when I'm messaging people, it's still genuinely me.
Oh man.
And so, yeah.
Well, what about those comments? Every day I've been posting a video every day, and I can immediately there's these comments from certain individuals, and you can tell it's all AI. And I almost want to call it out. I'm like, well, it's helping me. But we all know this was AI generated, right? Like it's kind of pissing me off.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess that is fine for the algorithm on this post, but yeah, it's sometimes hard to tell the difference, and it just means people need to keep at it. I still like to go to some industry conferences and get out there and network locally, network at some national conferences throughout the year too, because that's really what drives the business, is keeping those relationships going. And AI can support certain things, but it can't take away the human relationships.
Hi there, agency owners. Let me ask you, are you ready to scale your agency without increasing your overhead costs? If yes, then you need to know about E2M Solutions. Now, E2M is the #1 most reliable white label partner for agencies. They specialize in web design, WordPress development, e-commerce, SEO, and content writing. They basically do all the heavy lifting, which frees you up to focus on growing your agency. Now, here's the best part. E2M is just not another vendor. With over 10 years of experience, their team of over 300 experts has a track record of delivering for more than 300 agencies. They're your strategic partner. They deliver on time every time, so you can focus on what you do best. Now, E2M's mission is simple: to help 500 agencies increase their revenue and profit margins with white label services that actually work. And to help you get started, they're offering a special deal, 10% off for the first 3 months, but act fast because it's only a limited time offer. So head over to e2msolutions.com/smartagency to check out their transparent and their flexible pricing. Trust me, if you're ready to grow without burning out, E2M is the partner you've been looking for. That's e2msolutions.com/smartagency. Go check them out and tell them Jason Swank sent you. I always tell people your greatest asset is the network that you have. And especially too, I was showing you kind of pre-show ahead of time, like this little logo I created for Epic Fridays. I created in AI. I could have done it in Illustrator. I'm a graphic designer by trade. And that's how I kind of started my agency, but I literally did it in 2 seconds and it came out just as good, probably, if not better. Like literally, it was crazy. And so I tell people, your job is going to change, and so is your clients that you're going after. And I've been telling people on the podcast for a little while that, look, if you're going after someone like me, right, that loves technology, I love jumping into AI, going, what can it do? And I'm curious about it. You're going to be replaced by AI. There's no question on that. But I am 1% of the population. The other 99.999, they want someone to guide. Now your role may change. So like I was chatting with someone a little while ago. They hired a VP of AI to come in and build a team around that and their agency is really jumped all into AI. And you would think, Jason, they probably laid off a bunch of people. No, they're actually hiring 18 more next month.
Wow.
Because now their roles have changed. So their media managers that would manage ads, they're getting replaced. But those people are changing into AI managers.
Wow.
Right? And you think about it on going, wow, man, like, how can I guide my clients to use AI in a better way to get more efficient? Because at the end of the day, your clients are coming to agencies. Why? To solve a problem with a solution. And what you're doing is you're saving them time because they have the capability to go out and figure out to do what you've learned over the years. But it might take them just as long, right? Like you've been in business for 10 years. It might take them 10 years. So you're saving them time. And when agencies start realizing that and then start communicating that to the client, be like, look, we can do this. And this is how we're going to do it. They're like, okay, cool. But then there's going to be that 1% that are like me that you'd be like, don't go after them because they're going to replace you.
Yeah.
But that's a small percentage, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the inevitable is the AI is here and it is how are we going to manage it? How are we going to work with it? And, yeah, I'm using it in different ways. It helps me save time, so much time every day. And I wouldn't have even dreamed of this 5 years ago. But you just got to be smart with it and make sure that it's doing the work for you and not, replacing you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you got to always be adapting. That's what I always tell people. There was another guest I had on and they had kind of like this framework for making their agency and everyone in the organization to really kind of jump on AI rather than just the owner, right? Because if the owner's just doing it and they're trying to like push it down to the rest of the team, they're going to kind of be a little pushback, right? Because you're pushing it on them. And naturally, when you get pushed, you push back. And basically they were like, look, every question that we approach for anything we're trying to do, we're like, how can we use AI to do it? That was one. The other one is, if you're anything like me, your attention to detail is very low and you constantly, scrolling through different things. And I thought this was unique. She would tell all her team going, look, I want you to change the algorithm on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, whatever, or TikTok, whatever you watch, and type in AI cool things to do. And so you watch a couple of those videos and then the algorithm starts serving you up these minute content things to go, hey, go check this out. And there's a lot of content out there. Be like, oh, that's pretty neat. I can apply that versus watching a 20, 30-minute speech or 50-minute speech. It's like all these little micro things. So I thought that was brilliant. And then whenever the team wanted to test out AI, they would test it out, but then they'd have to report back and be like, this is the use case I think it could be used. And their agency's blowing up. They're, going for it. And the clients want to work with them because they're using AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that's like the hot buzz keyword, if you figure out.
It's the .com. Yeah. It's like the .com error.
Right.
Right. Like people are going to, because I remember when I started, we were called interactive agencies, right? We wanted to be different. And then we were called digital agencies. And the regular traditional agency was just a marketing agency. Now it's kind of, if you're not doing digital, you're not really doing marketing anymore. And that's kind of how I see AI in the next few years. We're not going to just be calling it, I'm an AI agency. Like, yeah, you should be.
That's a really interesting perspective. Yeah, you've lived through it all over the past couple decades, but yeah, it's ever evolving. What comes next? What comes after AI?
I don't know. Well, the machines kill us all.
Yeah.
Right? It's the Terminator. I hope not.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited for it. Like there's some things that you get a little worried about. But at the end of the day, right? Like, because I even think about the car dealers. I remember Seth Godin was talking to me once about how the car manufacturers, when they were making cars, they needed a middleman, right? They didn't want to deal with the public, which is kind of smart, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they developed car dealers. And so they're the middlemen. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Tesla's kind of changing that, right? Even though they kind of have dealers now, but you kind of deal through the mothership and then, so on. Agencies are the same thing. They're the middlemen, right? So for certain avenues like Facebook and Google, they're creating platforms where you can go in there, and there's AI tools now coming out where you can say, this is the target I want, go create the campaign and it will run everything. Now, they're not that good yet, but they're going to get better. Like
Mm-hmm.
the leaps and bounds of innovation and all that different technology change all the time. And so when you think about that, these big companies like Meta and Google are trying to replace the agency for what they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Us as agencies, as middlemen, we just need to figure out what is the new role that we need to play. And those are the questions I always kind of tell people. I'm like, what do we transform into as this changes? Or you can ask the better question, what's not going to change in the next 5 years? Everyone thinks about what's going to change, what's not. And you've already said it. People want to deal with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of keep drilling down in that to figure, what do we need to do? That's how I want everybody to start thinking, how to start planning. And I think if you do that, you're going to make some mistakes, but you're also going to hit some, get on base and hit some home runs and have a good life. That's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
So, any good stories or innovative things that you've had on recent podcasts with other guests that, or any sort of mind blowing tactics that you could share here with me?
At the end of the day, there's nothing mind blowing about different things. Like, I never want to talk about tactics because the
Mm-hmm.
tactics will change. I like to focus more on what is my ultimate goal? Where am I trying to go? Right. So, like with you, right? It's a lifestyle business, right? I want to support my life. I want to create the rules, right? And like I was chatting with a couple members of mine that are partners, and they both live different lifestyles. One lives well below their means.
Mm-hmm.
One lives right up to their means, if not more. So they're struggling, right? Because one needs to make more, one is well under. And I'm like, and I went to the particular person living under. I was like, man, you got like, that's the goal, right? Because you live well below your means. You're making more than you've ever wanted anyway. And you're not stressing because everyone's lifestyle gets more and more. And he or she is not worried about, hey, I need to do this one tactic in order to get over this one part, right? Like they can sustain it and they can all constantly change and not make decisions based on money. Because tactics change, but the ultimate goal, whatever it is, you can get there multiple ways. You just got to be patient. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon, right? Like the water and wind shaped it over time, over
Mm-hmm.
millions of years. Now, I wish we had millions of years, but we don't. So, but one thing I can promise you is everything changes. That's the one constant.
True. Even more rapidly as time goes on, too.
Yeah. Right. Like that's why I never want to talk. Like I never bring on anybody to talk about a tactic because it always changes. But I'll talk about a framework or a foundation or a system, right? Because that will work, right? Like when I played college tennis, I remember, I told this story, I think once on the show where I was losing to a guy that I should be crushing because I was ranked pretty high. They were not ranked. And he was kicking my ass. And I kept going to my coach, what do I do? What do I do? Like I was just a little shithead. And he's like, go back to the basics. Just watch the ball, take your hand, take your racket back early and just hit it. Like you're overthinking anything. And that's the same thing in business, right? Like go back to the basics. What got you here? And then think about how you can adapt. That's how I tell everybody to do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like it.
Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Oh, well, thanks for that question. It's been fun chatting with you and just, getting to know you a bit, Jason. I appreciate this opportunity. I mentioned, kind of the things that I do and also the human aspect of all of this, communication. I like to say social media is B2B. It's B2C, it's B2B, it's H to H. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yep.
It's H to H.
Yep.
Human to human, that's what it's all about. One of the things I love to do is work with clients to help them, not just their organization, their company, their nonprofit, whoever I'm supporting, but like, how do they come across in social and put their personal best foot forward? Because, that's what people care about at the end of the day too, is like, who's running this business? What
That's right.
service or good am I buying from? Like, who is your CEO? Who are the people in your C-suite? Who's actually driving this company? And so that's a lot of the work that I do too, is helping individual people with
Yep. Be
their
human,
profile
right?
and their presentation. So yeah, it's all about, human. You're talking to, other people on the side of the screen, no matter what sort of tactic, social media campaign, et cetera, that you're putting out there. It's all about finding like what's driving them. What do they care about?
Yep.
And what are the, what do they want to buy? What do they want to learn from you? And then that's what we do. So yeah, it's all the, communication tactics boil down to the humans that are following them and who's making the decisions. So yeah, but yeah, this is really fun and glad to get to know you and your company too.
Yep, definitely. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and for everyone listening. Look, like I told you guys a little while in the episode, your network is your greatest asset, and getting around other people like you is one of the big things. I have a goal for agency owners, and that's why we're putting on that Elevate My Agency event in April. And I'd love for all of you to go check that out. Go to elevatemyagency.com. It's where we're going to have 50 really amazing agency owners come to the event. And here's my promise to you there. Every one of them will be top notch, because even when you buy a ticket, and you'll see this when everyone buys a ticket, we will interview you to make sure that you're that you can get the most out of the event, but also that you're the right person for the event. So make sure you guys go to elevatemyagency.com. And until next time, have a swank day.